Lance and Rick fight about stuff.
Alright, so the problem we have is I decided...
let's start with the nuclear thing and then we'll move on.
well, I thought I would explain what I'm doing with the painting.
All right, go ahead, sure.
Alright, well, I decided I didn't like the pose on the drawing after all that. And when you're an artist, you have to be willing to change things that you don't think are good. And that means throwing out stuff you put a lot of effort into. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase this arm that I think is awkward and replace it with this, which has a little more movement. Right now this arm just looks awkward, and I think the whole piece will be better without that. Straighten out your head, please.
Okay.
And now tilt your body that way more.
Okay.
Okay, now but straighten out your head.
Okay. You're only getting rid of like 11% of me.
Well, it's the way you're posed. You're awkward in this the way I have it. So I'm going to have to do some major surgery here to figure out how to get rid of it.
Okay.
I'm going to start with just a soft eraser and then move on to more and more elaborate methods to get rid of this hand. What a part of the problem when you're using this charcoal on canvas, sometimes it embeds itself and it's hard to get rid of. Now, let's go back to our discussion.
Before you
Rick?
start that, if I may interject, Rick. So he's changing the hand there. Is it why the hand is wide because you said it's a little rigid, or what is it?
And the pose looks awkward.
Okay, so Rick, he says the pose is awkward. Do you suppose it could be because of his emotions of the conversation? Look at it. Do you think that
No.
maybe he's making you rigid because he's getting the anger or the frustration with the liberal view? What do you think?
No, I think Lance is a pro, and he's able to leave his feelings out of his art.
What do you think about that, Lance? What do you think? Do your feelings come out? You be frank. Do you sometimes
No.
your feelings get involved?
No, the paintings, when they're when I conceive of what the painting is going to be, they may have to do with an emotion or an experience, and the experience may be emotional. But when I'm actually executing the piece, I'm cold as ice.
And
There's no emotion while I'm working.
How about when you're painting an ass? Tell me about it. What's a good ass?
Well, hold on, because
Okay.
what's
Go ahead.
Lance is steadfast in his art doing. I and many other associates of Lance have tried to get him to be more commercial, to do a series of paintings of people on their cell phones while driving, to reflect contemporary life. And Lance continues to do paintings that reflect deeper, more universal themes.
Thank you, Rick. I'm glad you feel that way. It's hard to hate a liberal that that is your friend, unfortunately.
Well, I still think you should paint dickheads who drive while they're talking or texting.
Hey, by the way, Lance, tell us about who are some hot conservative hosts that.
Most of them, at least the.
Can you talk about one?
Well, I guess you guys all know that my hero is Coulter, who I would die for. She's beautiful. She's brilliant. And do you want me to tell you more about her?
Sure. How do you feel about it? Well, before you do that, how do you feel about her, Rick?
Well, I think she's kind of an a-hole. I've heard that she doesn't. That the thing that she's a provocateur, and that she doesn't necessarily mean everything that she says. She says a lot of stuff to get the biggest reaction. Says the most appalling thing she can come up with. I have a feeling she needs hugs when she's not in public.
How do you feel about that?
Well, listen, there are probably thousands of men that are writing to Coulter every day. She can get as many hugs as she wants, and I don't even think she's being a provocateur. That's what's so funny is liberals think that she's trying to be shocking. She's not. She's just talking like a normal person, like a normal human being, which is what Trump was doing. What happens is this: the liberal media, they don't have any sense of humor when it comes to anything a conservative says. So if Ann Coulter or Trump make a joke about something, they automatically assume that that's really what they mean. There's no exaggeration. And so they say, oh, she must be a horrible person for saying that. No, she's just talking like a person. And I like the fact that she isn't politically correct, that she's not guarding her speech very carefully because the liberals are going to turn it into some big frenzy like they're doing with that poor, with Sean Spicer now. You know, the guy makes a perfectly reasonable statement about how Hitler didn't use gas, and the liberals are like, oh, but what about the Holocaust?
Well,
and all the guy meant was something that intelligent people have known. I don't know about liberals, they're very badly informed, but conservative people know that Hitler didn't use gas during World War II.
well, he just used sarin gas on people in concentration camps.
Well, he used Zyklon B, but
I'm sorry, Zyklon B, which is cyanide.
right. But the point is that he was obeying the conventions that had decided to ban gas in the 20s after World War I. And
Well, hold
so
on.
what Sean Spicer's-
Hold on.
Yes.
I think that many people realized that that's what he was saying, that he didn't use it against enemy troops.
Yeah.
But I follow comedy Twitter. That is, I try to find people who are funny on Twitter, and then I follow them for their jokes and points of view. And him saying that, even though it's a mistake, and even though
It's not even a mistake. That's what he said was perfectly reasonable.
No, it's a dumb thing to have said.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it was. Anyway, the deal is that that's a perfect opening to make about 100,000 jokes about frickin' Spicer, because he was the trifecta. He was the third thing in the trifecta of that week, where you've got Pepsi doing that crazy ad with Kendall Jenner. You have United beating the crap out of the guy, and then you have Spicer's comment, and it was just a lovely cornucopia of shit to make fun of.
Well, I'm sorry, but I think people that are badly informed and stupid will say that Spicer made a mistake when he was referring to something that was a very well-known thing, that Hitler avoided using gas because he didn't want gas to be inflicted on German troops, and he had gone through the horrors of war. He was gassed in World War I. All the Republicans that I know knew that. None of the Democrats did.
Well, I'm a frickin' Democrat, and I knew that.
You knew that. Then why were you? Then what was funny about it? It was a perfectly reasonable
Because
thing
it's
to
so
say.
dumb to say something like, I know he's on the spot,
No,
but
it wasn't a dumb thing to say. He
Yeah,
was
because-
pointing out that what Assad is doing is breaking the laws of war.
well, he
and
picked
we're
a
trying to
stupid
avoid
way
it.
to say it, because it
No,
opens him
it's a
up to this
perfectly-
kind. No, if you look at the effect,
Yeah.
he says it, and everybody goes frickin' crazy.
Well, dumb people go crazy. I guess we have
No.
to take into account that liberals are so stupid and hysterical that they're going to make a big deal about a perfectly reasonable historical fact.
Hey, pick a better fact that supports your argument better. Don't use fucking Hitler.
No, Hitler is the best example.
Yeah, but Hitler.
Because even what he's saying is even Hitler didn't want to bring gas warfare back.
Then he should have been more clear. He shouldn't have used the term concentration centers.
That was when they tried to confuse him afterwards, and he said, well, no, they did use it on Jews, but it's ridiculous. Of course, Hitler didn't bring back gas warfare, and the whole point of attacking Assad, let me finish my point. The whole point of attacking Assad was so that he wouldn't bring warfare back to the way it was in 1916.
Well, hold on just a second. If you have to explain all that to people who don't know that, then maybe you've picked a bad a talking point. I mean, Hitler killed 11 million people in the camps. And in the camps, a lot of those 11 million were Zyklon B'd So it's confusing to people who aren't perfectly well informed, and everybody went nuts. I mean, you have to judge whether it was a prudent or effective comment by.
So let me get this. Let me get this straight. So
He's the presidential spokesman.
right when I'm the presidential spokesman and I'm speaking out to a bunch of liberal reporters, I have to assume that they're fucking idiots and don't know anything about history.
You have to communicate effectively, and if you were the guy who was the Bush's White House rabbit,
Yeah.
and you're already on the spot, and because the media finds you fucking hilarious, and fucking what's her name is portraying you on SNL, yeah, you've got to pick your stuff that.
No, you don't. You have to say things the way they are. And when they said, but what about the Jews? Hitler gassed Jews. Sean should have said, you're a bunch of idiots. He didn't use them on troops. That's what I was referring to. That's what Assad is being bombed for. That's the whole point, is not to bring warfare back to 1917. That's what we're talking about. And I don't have to explain basic facts of history to a bunch of reporters that are supposed to be the smartest people in journalism.
Yeah, but
the best people are supposed to be at the White House asking him questions. They should have just said. They should have just nodded and written down what he said.
But that's not what they did.
Because they wanted to attack him. Because liberals can't deal with facts. The only thing they can do is try to attack people's character. It was a setup. It's an underhanded, dirty Alinskyite trick in order to make somebody look bad and besmirch them. Now we're saying that Spicer is an anti-Semite? Is that what you're telling me?
No, I'm saying, I don't know.
I'm supposed to believe that?
I doubt he's anti-Semitic, but he picked a...
What do you mean you doubt he's anti-Semitic? He's not anti-Semitic.
Okay, fine. Give him that, but he still picked the wrong way to express himself.
No,
he's the presidential. He's the spokesman. He's the press secretary.
I'm not a spokesman. I'm a fucking artist. Works in a warehouse.
Who listens to 50 hours a week of conservative podcasts.
I knew.
You were hyper-informed about the conservative point of view.
I knew that Hitler didn't use gas when I was in high school. It was just common knowledge if you were a normal person taking history classes.
Well, maybe it's not normal knowledge now. And more people know that Hitler, regardless of what people know or don't know, more people know that Hitler gassed people in the camps than know about Hitler's position on gassing enemy troops.
So we have to dumb everything down for the liberals.
Yeah. You have to dumb everything down for everybody.
No, the conservatives that I've talked to all knew this. It was just the liberals. You're badly informed. It's sad.
Now, Spicer fucked up.
Who was your Aunt Coulter, Rick?
Rachel Maddow. Who do I like? I like Rachel Maddow, and there's somebody else I love that I'm trying to think that brings me joy whenever I fucking see her. And I forget who that is. It's not a news person, but I like Rachel Maddow because she's frickin' she's got a lot of fucking facts, and she strings them together nicely.
Wasn't she hot when she was young?
Well, I mean, she's gay, so the hotness is tempered by the whole deal that. I mean, it's not that I could get anybody, gay or not, but like, but she's cute. She's, I don't know. It's a bad idea to use as your counterexample a guy who may not have used gas against enemy troops, but who gassed more people than any other motherfucker in history. I don't think anybody gassed more people than Hitler did.
Okay, well, I'm sorry, but I knew precisely what he was saying as soon as he said it. All the well-informed people that I've talked to, including you, claim to know what he meant. So there's no reason for liberals to create a hysteria and try to smear the White House with anti-Semitism. It's a vicious, dirty trick.
Well, I'm not saying anti-Semitism. I'm saying that it was an ill-advised comment to use the king of gassing people as your counterexample.
No, it isn't, because his example is the best possible example. Even the king of gassing people didn't use gas on the battlefield.
All right.
That's why we're bombing Assad.
But he didn't say that
Well,
until
so he didn't think he had to.
Well, then
It was obvious to the conservatives.
yeah, you're making excuses for a guy who
And then Wolf Blitzer tries to humiliate him afterwards and say, so do you really mean you're sorry? And who are you sorry
well,
to?
I don't.
Oh, it was
what-
terrible. You know what Spicer should have said? He should have just said, I'm not sorry, next question. I'm sorry that Trump, that's what Trump would have said.